I stepped into the empty aisles of Target, the familiar scent of merchandise filling the air. As a frequent shopper, I felt a sense of comfort wandering through the neatly organized shelves. Little did I know that this visit would be far from ordinary. The lights flickered above me, casting eerie shadows on the rows of products. An uneasiness washed over me as I made my way deeper into the store. It felt as though invisible eyes were watching my every move. I tried to shake off the feeling, attributing it to my overactive imagination. But then, I heard a soft whisper from one of the aisles. My heart skipped a beat as I strained to listen. The voice seemed to be coming from the toy section. I cautiously approached, feeling a tingling sensation crawl up my spine. As I rounded the corner, my eyes widened in terror. The toys on the shelves began to move on their own, their once innocent faces contorting into twisted expressions. They giggled and laughed, their tiny voices echoing throughout the store. I stumbled backward, my mind racing with fear. Unable to tear my eyes away, I watched as the shelves rattled and shook. Dolls flew off their shelves, their lifeless eyes staring at me with malevolence. Plastic action figures brandished tiny knives, their movements jerky and unnatural. I turned to run, but the aisles seemed to shift and change, disorienting me. Panic gripped my heart as I realized I was trapped in this nightmarish maze. The walls seemed to close in on me, tightening their grip with every step I took, like it before. It was a woman, translucent and glowing, with jagged edges to her shape. Her eyes were black and hollow, and her mouth was a gaping black hole, emitting an inhuman wail. A cold draft brushed against my skin, raising goosebumps. I could hear whispers all around me, faint cries for help that sent shivers down my spine. Each breath became harder to take as the air grew heavy with a stifling presence. Desperate to escape, I followed a flickering light at the end of an aisle. It led me to the electronics section, where the TVs and monitors came alive with ghostly apparitions. Faces of past employees and customers flashed on the screens, their eyes filled with anguish and despair. I pleaded for the spirits to release me, but my words fell on deaf ears. They surrounded me, their ghostly figures closing in. I felt their icy touch, their fingers grazing my skin with a bone-chilling coldness. Just as I was about to give up hope, a thunderous crash erupted throughout the store. The spirits froze and turned their attention towards the source of the noise. Amidst the chaos, a figure emerged, a lone security guard holding a cross and a bottle of holy water. He began reciting prayers, the words resonating through the aisles like a shield of protection. The spirits shrieked in pain, retreating from the guard's presence. Within moments, the store fell silent once again. Gasping for breath, I thanked the security guard for saving me. He nodded, a knowing look in his eyes, and told me that Target had been built upon an old burial ground. The spirits trapped between realms sought revenge, using the storm as their twisted playground. As I stepped out into the night, I couldn't shake off the lingering sense of dread. Every time I pass by Target now, I can't help but glance over my shoulder, wondering if the spirits still linger within its walls, waiting for the next unsuspecting victim. As I walked into the Target store, a chill ran down my spine. The overhead lights flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows across the aisles. I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding as I ventured further into the store. The store was unusually quiet, devoid of any other shoppers. The shelves were neatly stacked with products, yet there was an unsettling air of disarray. Something was definitely not right.
I found myself drawn towards the electronics section. As I approached, I noticed a television screen displaying a distorted image, accompanied by a static-filled audio that sent shivers down my spine.
A cold draft blew past me, and I could have sworn I heard whispered voices in the distance. Unable to shake off the creeping unease, I decided to make my way to the clothing department in the hope of finding a distraction. I was overwhelmed by a sense of dread. The mannequins seemed to come alive, their glassy eyes following my every move. Their limbs twisted and contorted, as if mocking my fear. I hurriedly moved towards the grocery section, hoping that a glimpse of familiar items would bring me some comfort. But as I entered the aisle, the shelves began to rattle violently. Cans and boxes flew off the shelves, crashing onto the floor. The once organized rows turned into a chaotic mess, as if unseen hands were throwing a tantrum. Terrified, I ran towards the nearest exit, only to find all the doors locked. Panic surged through me as I realized I was trapped inside the haunted store. My heart pounded in my chest as I desperately searched for another way out. In my frantic search, I stumbled upon a hidden door, tucked away in an obscure corner. It beckoned me with a faint light shining from within. Without hesitation, I pushed it open and entered a dimly lit corridor. The corridor seemed to stretch endlessly, with doors lining each side. Each door had a plaque hanging from it, displaying a name. I cautiously opened one of the doors, only to find myself transported to an entirely different world. Each room held its own unique horror, from ghostly apparitions to grotesque creatures lurking in the shadows. As I continued exploring the rooms, I couldn't help but feel a dark presence watching me. Whispers echoed through the corridor, growing louder with each step. I felt as if I were being pulled towards a sinister force beyond my control. Finally, I reached the last room in the corridor. The door creaked open to reveal a nightmarish scene. In the center of the room stood a towering figure shrouded in darkness. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its voice resonated with a bone-chilling growl. "You dare to trespass in my domain," the figure boomed, its voice filled with malice. "You shall never leave this place." Fear and dread gripped me as the figure advanced towards me. I closed my eyes, preparing for the worst. But as the figure reached me, a blinding light enveloped the room. The darkness receded, and I found myself back in the Target store, unharmed. I stumbled towards the exit, my heart still pounding from the ordeal. As I stepped outside, the store's facade seemed to shimmer and fade away, revealing an old abandoned building. The haunted remains of the once bustling Target store had finally revealed its true nature. And so, the tale of the haunted Target store became a local legend, a cautionary tale to those who dared to enter its doors. To this day, people speak of the eerie happenings and the malevolent force that lurks within the walls of the empty building. The haunting of Target will forever be etched in my memory as a chilling encounter with the supernatural.